Akureyri, Iceland. I recently spent a day traveling through and beyond Akureyri, Iceland. The motor coach excursion was booked through Oceania cruises. Our cruise eventually visited 3 ports in Iceland. Out of the 3, Akureyri was by far my absolute favorite. We had gorgeous weather that day and the sights were amazing. The motor coach picked us up at the cruise port and we slowly drove through town with the guide pointing out various buildings. Of special note was that during the pandemic, they changed all the red street lights to hearts to put a smile on people's faces, and it did the trick. Fun to see the hearts at every stop along the way. Akureyri is at the end of the Eyjafjiordur, a large fjord. There are 2 islands in the middle of it, so to leave town we traveled along the shore of the fjord for a short while. Eventually we climbed up and through the hills of a very picturesque glacial valley with farms, lakes, and rivers. The drive was so pretty with picture-perfect settings everywhere you looked. Our first stop was Godafoss, or Waterfall of the Gods, and what a stunning sight it was. We were given over an hour to stroll the paths around the falls. I've seen many falls before, but these were very interesting in that they seemed to be in the middle of a flat green plain. The water just carved this gorge out of the valley. There were several paths around the falls and a bridge to cross over to the other side. For seniors, the paths were mostly flat and well-groomed, but for more adventurous souls, you could walk down rockier slopes to get closer to the water. Here are a few more images of the falls. Our next stop were these craters, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce. Our guide kept calling them faux craters because they weren't truly craters, but just appeared as such. Before we visited the craters, though, we were treated to a delicious lunch at a hall near the site. One of the better meals I've ever had on a motor coach excursion: salmon, potatoes, and salad. Yum! Once we finished our meal, we were allowed to roam freely for an hour. The setting was gorgeous with these green mounds and placid lakes. There were numerous well-groomed trails with some stairs. It is a great place for hiking, and there were maps to lead the way. You could definitely spend a full day here. However, there was a big problem with these pesky bugs that were more than annoying. You had to flail your arms to keep them out of your nose, ears, and face. I ventured far enough to take pictures, but only stayed about 20 minutes. I hightailed it back to get away from the bugs, and I lasted longer than most. Here are some of the images I took. Really beautiful. I found out later that the souvenir shop nearby sold netting to put over your face. Not a bad idea if you really want to fully explore the area. The bugs even got inside our bus to mildly torment us for the rest of the trip. We then traveled to Namaskard, which is a setting of geothermal activity. In other words, bubbling mud pots. It was somewhat like Yellowstone Park if you've ever been there. It had a sulfur smell and there was plenty of steam coming up from the soil. There were many paths all around the site. However, we were told not to wander too far, not to touch anything, and to avoid muddy areas because it would stick to your shoes and stain them. So everyone was very obedient. And you really didn't need to go far to appreciate the unusual setting and activity. Our final stop was the lava formations at Dimmunborgir, which loosely translated means dark castles. The formations are thought to have been created about 2,300 years ago in the violent throes of an extensive volcanic eruption. It is a spectacular setting of these magnificent lava pillars. Our guide led us on a short loop. She didn't want us to wander on her own since it is evidently easy to get lost in this park. I could see why. All the formations look somewhat similar. The guide made sure to show us the various troll-shaped stones. This one is a gigantic troll face, and these are the kissing trolls. There were a few areas where there were holes through the rocks or caves that you could enter. It is a magical park that has you conjuring up creatures from your imagination. Near the parking lot is a cute little outdoor cafe that has wonderful views of the park. On our way back to the ship, we passed a lake that used to be used as a hot spring bath. However, the guide said it has become too hot and could burn you. We returned the way we came, passing by snow-capped mountains, volcanic craters, farms, lakes, back through the hills, along the fjord, and back to the ship, which was sitting pretty nestled in the fjord. A beautiful day with stunning sights, fascinating geology, and history. I have posted additional videos on my 30-day land and cruise journey to Scotland, Iceland, Greenland, and more, which I have listed in the description below. If you have questions, feel free to ask in the comments section, and please subscribe to follow other destinations on this trip. And check out the other senior and solo travel resources, the Senior Solo Travel website and the Travel Facebook forum. I have included links to both in the description. And if you'd like to follow my senior and solo travel journeys, please like and subscribe. Next stop, Eyjafjiordur.